Hello and welcome to episode 226 of Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty. Of course, I am your host, Rick Doherty. On today's show, my longtime and amazing friend Danielle will be here as we continue to talk about Epic Universe, which is officially opened now in Orlando. Danielle went to a preview with her husband and daughter, and they stayed on property. Most of us can only wait to experience this park, so it's great to get the chance to talk to people who have been there. Do me a favor, make sure you're subscribed to the Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty YouTube channel. There's still plenty of theme park content on there, and I'll be hitting other types of locations as well. Since I'm now in the Northeast and the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence is next year, I'll finally be using that history major from college to visit some locations that were instrumental in the U.S. Revolutionary War. I may also check out some other big moments in U.S. history as well. I think you know me enough to know that these won't be propaganda videos. Just like every moment in history, the U.S. Revolutionary War is full of contradictions and hypocrisies. Of course, if you like anything on the YouTube channel, a podcast, video, vlog, or anything else, make sure to share it with friends who might like it, comment with something positive, and obviously click the like button. It is hard to express how much that helps us. Right now, let's get things started. Thanks for being here, Danielle.
That was great to be here. As always, nice to see you.
First of all, now that I have moved back up north, I miss you, and it's kind of weird because this is where I met you, and now you're down there and I'm up here, so I'm so happy we got to talk just because I do miss you.
I know, I miss you too, buddy. I know. We're going to get our time in. We're going to get our time in when you come back to visit.
So you got to experience Epic Universe recently at one of the previews before it opened to the general public, and I'm really interested in hearing your perspective of it because I think we've heard a lot from people who are, quote unquote influencers, but
Yeah.
you went with your husband, you went with your daughter, so you're giving that more traditional family vibe. Like, what does the average family think about this new theme park? So
Yeah,
I'm really
definitely.
excited to hear that perspective. First of all, did you get to do everything you wanted? These previews had limited crowds. They didn't have as many people as will be there on a regular day. But did you still end up coming short of everything you wanted to do?
Yeah, there was a lot of technical difficulties happening during the day. Now, of course, it hadn't rained in Florida for months. And the day that we went, it torrential downpoured first thing in the morning, which was fine. We still went to Mario World, had a great time because there's a lot of indoor rides you can take advantage of. The biggest faux pas for sure was Harry Potter Ministry of Magic. They were still doing the virtual lines. And you and I both know how hard it was to get in Guardians. Like at 7:00, you need to be on your phone. You're refreshing. With this one, if Universal could do something better, it would be how they do the virtual queue because it was not what I expected. I would put in that we had 3 people and one time slot would show up, then 3 would show up. And by the time you accepted it, it would say, sorry, this is full. It was not like Guardians where you would get a time where you would come back. It was like, if you missed it, you missed it. And all 3 times throughout the day, we missed it. So crazy to me because I was like, what do you mean? All 3 times? What is happening? But we did get to go through the queue just so we could get the essence of what it's like waiting for the ride itself. And that was my biggest thing. I wanted to see, like, is this just like the movie? And it really was. It did not disappoint. I don't know if you remember in the last movie where they're going through the green tunnels and it's like this, they're transporting into the train station. That's basically what happened. you got transported going through the tunnel, and it was like this big puff of smoke and like music throughout the tunnel. And then you were taken into this big area where there were signs looking for Harry Potter, and like it's like a warrant arrest for him. And like it was so cool. It was so cool. The experience itself was awesome. The staff there were really cool too. Like they were trying to answer questions for us. Um, that land in particular, they mixed two things. It was the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and I want to say Incredible Beasts. I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
So they mixed those two together in that land. So you had these random people that would come around saying, "Hey, are you sure you're allowed to have that wand? Do you have a permit for that wand?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I don't have a permit." "Well, I'm gonna have to write you a ticket." Like it was very immersive. Like it was just, and Kaylee's like, "What? I need a permit for this?" I said, "Run."
Of course, Kaylee being your daughter, and I'm really excited as we continue going through this to hear what she thought of it, because you're hearing a lot about what adults are thinking about the land. But the Harry Potter section of this park, we know that the ride is supposed to be really next level, but they're having their issues with getting people on it. I guess that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons that you do have a preview, is so that you can sort of work out the kinks. I hope that the interactions coming up to people, asking them if they have permits for the wands, and all of those little details that you got, I hope they keep them up as the park continues to welcome in more and more people. And that's not
Yes.
like, in my mind, I don't want to talk down about Disney. Like, this isn't about Disney versus Universal, but I feel like a lot of times Disney would do things like that during the previews, and then once it opened to the general public, they wouldn't. So I'm hoping that they do keep
Hmm.
up that sort of experience. I want to
Yes.
get over now to the land that I know you were most anticipating, and I think the one where you spent most of your time, because I think we're going to spend most of our time talking about this land, and I want to make sure we don't run out here. And that's the Super Nintendo world. Your age, your husband's age, perfect
Yes.
age range for Super Nintendo world. But I want to know, did your daughter also come in with that same love of the intellectual property? Does she play a lot of Nintendo? Does she know the characters? And what did you all think about this land?
So even though we are 80s kids and, we all grew up with the classic Mario, um, our daughter has been exposed to Mario just because she has a Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo Switch has brought back the original gameplay. So she knew the characters. She knew exactly who she wanted. Um, she actually got a bracelet like this. This is the Yoshi band. What is interesting about this is there's a QR code on the back. You scan it on the app for Universal, and there's a separate gameplay area that tracks your points. So you name your band. You each get to have your own, like if you're Team Toadstool or Team Peach or your Team Yoshi, it shows each and every one of you like who got the most coins, who leveled up faster, who got a key. So if you would have watched us throughout the park, it was hilarious. We were all trying to hit the coin. They had like the coin boxes that you would physically have to hit and get points. And they had different, what I didn't know, they had different challenges throughout the park. So you could get keys. So you could go do a conquest against Mini Bowser, against Baby Bowser, and you could get the golden mushroom. Honestly, I was surprised of all the little hidden gems that they had. I remember playing Donkey Kong when I was a kid, and you had to find like the D-O, like the D-O-N-K, like E-Y, like you had to find all the letters. When you go through Donkey Kong Land, you're doing the same thing. You have to find all the letters in order to get like perks to certain rides. So it was very cool. I would say Kaylee loved it. Like in between doing things, she was doing the I don't know if you remember, I think it was Super Mario 3 where they had you would play like what do they call it? It was like a roulette where you would hit the boxes, and if you got a star, a mushroom, you got certain points. They have a separate room where it brings in like the different types of Marios. So the Super Marios, the Mario 3, um, it put everything together. I was very surprised. I was shocked at the forms that were there, the life-sized plants that were coming out, like the Koopas. Like it was crazy. It put you into another world, basically.
And one of the things I love to hear is none of those things are actually rides. Like
No.
you are getting to do things that aren't just rides. And I think when you're talking about a theme park, and when we know that this is going to be so busy all summer long, you have to have things to do that you don't have to wait in line, where you
Right.
don't have to sit there for 90 minutes because you're going to get so sick of just being hopping from line to line with all these crowds if that's not the case. So I like that they gave you things to do other than
Yes.
the rides. But did you get to experience the rides in Super Nintendo Land?
So we did. We did Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. That was very interesting. The whole queue itself was so immersive. I You felt like you were right in the video game, like you were hearing all the dramatic music that you're going up to beat Bowser. When you get to the actual car, there's a four-seater for the car, and you have a hat on. You just have a regular Mario hat. When you get into the car itself, there's a visor that attaches to the hat, and everything you're doing in this Mario Kart race is like a virtual reality. So in your hand in the steering wheel, you're able to hit buttons so you can shoot out uh, the turtle shells, or you can shoot out like little banana peels or whatever. But it's all virtual, and you're getting points for this too. Those points go back to your account, like they track it on your account when you play the game. So it was pretty cool. It went through all the favorite, the rainbow track, which is everybody's favorite. It just went through all the different Mario Kart tracks that you would have definitely driven playing like N64 or something, you know. So that's what I mean when I say they took all the gaming consoles together. They sure did. They incorporated all the gaming consoles. Now, what I did find interesting, there were like little Easter eggs throughout the park. There were Zelda remnants, if I should say that, and there was like glass stained glass windows. I was like, why is Zelda there? There's nothing in this park that is Zelda. So it almost makes me wonder if they're going to have something down the road that incorporates that. Universal is good at this. They usually do little Easter eggs like this, and then it comes out. So we didn't do Yoshi's Adventure just because it was raining at the time, and it's one of those. It's home. It's almost like People Mover. That's what it was. But you're sitting in Yoshi. But one of my friends did Yoshi, and she said that you have to find 3 eggs along the way in order to get a key at the end so that it goes to your play account. And then the Donkey Kong area, it kept having troubles. Like it was running, it wasn't running, it was running, it wasn't running. So we still had fun inside the Donkey Kong area. Like I said, we were playing the games as we went. So I mean, that took up a lot of our time for the day, to be honest. And we had no regrets about any of it.
Now, you went sort of all out. You got the bands and you tracked how you were doing in the different gameplay modes. Do you think that people would enjoy it without that? Do you think that just riding the rides and just experiencing the land would still be worth it? Or do you think that getting the wand in the Harry Potter land and getting the wristband in the Super Nintendo land are pretty important?
um, I'll be honest. I think if you want the full experience, you need the band. Because the way it tracks it, it's like you're in the video game itself. If you don't have it, it's kind of like you can't even experience the I think it's the Baby Bowser challenge. If you didn't collect 3 keys, you can't even do the ride. So And that one was interesting. That one, when you earn that ride, it's not even really a ride. It's like a virtual reality. You're all standing in a room and it shrinks you down to player size. So you are literally jumping up and down, you're hitting blocks, you're hitting bombs away, and it's just you and this little micro person, but you're standing there moving and doing everything, and it's catching it on the screen. Um, Without the band, you can't do that. You don't get to collect all the prizes that you need to get. And I don't know about you, but I was that person that would go back through the level to get all the things that I needed in order to pass. Because if I didn't do it, then I didn't finish the whole level. So
I think, Danielle, you do know enough about me to know that I would be doing that as well. So.
yeah, I don't know if it's the ADD for me or just like I need to have everything. It's like obsessive. It needs to happen.
Did you get the chance to check out the How to Train Your Dragon world?
We did. We did actually. Like I said, some of the rides were down. So they had a huge play area. So if anybody has kids, there's a great area for kids to go play. Take a load off. Parents can sit in the shade. There's an area where it's like spraying water. So if you're hot, you're not going to be hot. Um, there is a ride there that is very reminiscent of a ride at Legoland, where I think it's the Order of the Fry. It's where you're on a boat and you're going around the boat and you're spraying things with water. You're getting soaked the whole time. Like there's no way around it. If you need some relief from the heat, that is the ride to do. You're going to get soaked. You cannot avoid it. Um, there was another experience there. Oh, they had characters from the movie going around and talking to people, like almost jump scaring them, coming up behind them saying, "Oh, did you see this dragon? Are you going to train a dragon today?" Like trying to get you involved and seeing Toothless and baby Toothless. There's two experiences there. You can see the big Toothless or you can see the two mini baby Toothlesses. Um, we didn't get to see the two babies. We did get to see the bigger one. It was worth the wait. Definitely very interactive. Definitely different than anything I've seen at any of the other parks. It's not someone just dressed up. You know what I mean? Like it's very interactive. I don't know how else to explain it. It was different.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've seen as I've been watching other people experience this park. And I've never seen the How to Train Your Dragon movies. I think I will change that. Like, I want to see them now before I go experience Epic Universe for the first time. But
Yes.
those interactions seem like some of the best. I don't know if you'd call them meet and greets because, like you said, it's basically an animatronic. And I'm just really impressed with how they're operating. That's another thing that I hope continues to operate in the same way when the park
Yeah.
is open to the general public, because I would get a little worried that they would overwhelm. Like, you already waited in a long line for it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say, that was the longest line we stood in. It was about an hour long, just for a meet and greet. Um, what was interesting to me is I was trying to figure out the theme of the park itself. So we stayed in Helios, one of the newer hotels that has a portal that goes directly to the park. And I specifically did that because I wanted to get the full effect of like, if I were to do this, how legitimate is it? Um, I don't know if you want to get into that part of it as well. We can. It's
Let me hear about this hotel, okay?
so I am not one of those that likes to stay at like in perspective Grand Floridian, right? Everyone wants to stay there, but it's a top tier hotel. It's kind of what Lou's does with this. This is one of those top tier hotels, but they were doing a deal because they hadn't completely opened yet, right? I was like, all right, I can do this. So inside they have two restaurants. They're wonderful. It's all Mediterranean relatable. So like I was kind of like, okay, this is Mediterranean based food. My family's Sicilian, so yeah, okay, I get what they're serving. What I liked about this place though, they had a gym on site. They had a indoor arcade. The very tip top of the hotel was a bar, and the bar overlooks the whole park. Even at nighttime, it's immaculate. You need reservations though. However, even if you don't have reservations, there's an area for you to go where you can overlook and see the sights without having to be inside the bar, which is nice. Um, the room that we had gotten overlooked the park. So at night, I was able to watch and see which rides they were messing with. So I knew the next day, like where we needed to focus our attention, which actually really helped us a lot. For further in the day, I was watching them with the Stardust racers, and the one side wasn't running 100% of the time. So when we ended up going in line for that one, I knew which color to get on because I knew it was going to break down. I was like, there's no chance. This one isn't a problem. It's the other one. And sure enough, the other one did break down while we were in line, but that's besides the point. Um, the pool area of the hotel is what got me. I didn't have to get up and get anything for myself. They came to you. Like it was almost like they were offended if you went up to the bar and got something. They're like, no, 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 we'll bring it to you. You need towels, you need this. I'm like, okay, I can walk. It's fine. And they're like, no, 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 we bring everything out. So I mean, it was good. We did try some food by the poolside. One was their crab cakes, which were from up north. Anything compared to Maryland crab cakes were like, but it was actually really good. Very flavorful, had a nice little like lime topping. It was really good. And I think Kaylee ended up doing just regular spaghetti because she's a kid. She wanted the spaghetti with sprinkle cheese. And they bring that out with fruit and like a fresh drink for her. And I ended up doing like just a Caesar salad and it was great. So, I mean, all in all, like price range wise, it was affordable for us for three people. You would think it'd be like way out there in left field, but it was actually pretty affordable. First thing in the morning, we were able to get up and go in an hour before everybody else. And the portal is right there. You go through security, you walk out, and you're right inside the park. Um, it's just the experience itself is worth it. So if you get tired during the day, instead of having to leave, you can go back up into your room and relax for a little bit, and then go back out during nighttime, which is what our next venture is going to be. Is at night. I want to see this place at night.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it is built to be impressive at night. And I didn't realize that you stayed at the hotel, so I was really happy to hear all about that. And I'm happy that you got the chance to sort of spoil yourself a little bit because you earn it. You work hard, Danielle.
Yeah, I do, and I hardly ever take time like that because it's Florida down here. It's been crazy here lately, and I was like, you know what? This is our one and only time that we can actually like get to do this before general public does. Let's just go all out. So I wanted to get the full experience, and I will tell you, I was very impressed. I was very impressed with everything, and Disney has always been my favorite go-to, but this is kind of pulling me to the other side. Um, for one, I got my husband to go. Hello. Like he does not like parks and he is even apt to going again. So um he actually liked what side did we go to? It was the dark side. Oh,
Dark Universe
yes, Dark Universe. Okay,
with
there's
the
only two rides
monsters.
there. Yes. There's only two rides there. However, Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experience, was an experience from the beginning to the end. When I tell you you're placed right in the movie, Universal doing what it does best, and it gets you ready for the ride itself. Oh my God. It 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 was really good. It was really good. The wait for it was probably like 30 minutes. And you know how when rides are down and you're kind of just like strolling around waiting for them to open up. Well, they opened back up just as we were strolling by and we're like, let's go, beeline. um, but it was good. I may have to even send you some video. I took plenty of video of like the queues and stuff because I could not believe the work that they put into these rides. Like it just, even if there's only 11 rides in the whole Epic universe, but the immersiveness of everything makes you forget that there's not that many rides inside the park. They give you plenty to do.
Yeah, and it seems like they're already prepared that if this is a success, which I think we're all pretty much anticipating it's going to be a success, that they're going to be ready to expand it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Now, I do think that with how much it's going to draw people. I think they're going to have to work on the other parks first because they're going
Oh,
to have
yeah.
to bring those other parks up to the same quality level because Epic is definitely a step above. But I'm glad you got to try out the Dark Universe too. I was happy that they did that land because when you build a new theme park and the temptation is to just take all the IP that are popular right now and shovel
Yeah.
them into the theme park, but they went back and took something that was more classic that has been around
From
for
the
a
root.
long time, and I think that's going to make Epic Universe feel more timeless. When they first opened, for example, Disney MGM Studio, I think it felt a little bit too of the moment because, like, they had Power Rangers there and Roger Rabbit and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But now, because they went back and they're like, okay, Harry Potter's now been around for 30 years or whatever. We have Nintendo that's been around for 40 years. We have these monsters that have been around for like 100 years.
Yes. Yeah.
And they took intellectual properties that are more timeless. And then How to Train Your Dragon is a newer IP, but it's dragons. So it's like still timeless and still classic.
Yeah.
Did you try any of the restaurants in Epic, or did you just say, hey, we're staying at a nice hotel, so we'll handle our food after we're done?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Um, we were trying to hit all of the rides and hit all the scenery, and trying to get in to eat was slightly confusing, to be honest. Um, they had a couple of restaurants that were closer to where Helios was. There was one big area close to the other side of the park where the actual entrance was. I think it's called Atlantic. Let me see. I actually pulled up one of the names because Celestial Park is the first park that you walk into, which is what I did not realize. That's where Stardust Racer was and Constellation Carousel. It's kind of like the main focus. There is a place to eat right there. We just didn't get into it. The only place we really hit was the Starbucks because coffee is life. There were some places to eat were inside How to Train Your Dragon. There was there was some place to eat right outside of Dark Universe. If I had to tell you like that, you would have to actually make a full day just of eating because it's either one or the other. You're either going to focus on the food or you're going to focus on the rides. It's hard to do both. Um, but when I looked at some of the places, there wasn't really any wait. You just kind of went in, put your name in, and they told you when you needed to come back, which is kind of weird because with Disney, you have like a queue. With this, it's hard. Like you can't just plan and say I have three people that want to eat. You know what I mean? Unless you have, I don't know what the secret is to Universal, to be honest. Um, that is one of the places that I've never really done a sit down meal because I could always do the mobile order and it was quicker. Um, yeah, I think that's one of those goals I need to work on, honestly, because I don't know how that goes with Universal. It's always been slightly confusing for me. I'm like, so I put my name in, do I get a buzzer? They're like, no, sometimes people plan these in advance, and I'm like, well, this is preview week. So are we previewing how this is gonna go or but um I did want to talk about what was it? The Stardust Racers. That was a complete surprise to us. They're kind of reminiscent of Dueling Dragons. Dueling Dragons used to be where the Harry Potter motorbike ride is now, but this one was like 62 miles an hour, where Velocicoaster 70 miles an hour. There were 2 points in the ride where you're hitting 60 plus miles an hour going through loops, and you can see the other train right beside you going at the same time. Um, I want to say that was our favorite ride. If you don't like roller coasters, that's I think if you don't like roller coasters, you would find that there's other rides there that you would probably like that are interactive, but that was like our favorite ride of the whole park. Like we talked about it the rest of the day. Couldn't believe like we sat in the front because per Kaylee fashion, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it right and sit in the front. So we did. and it was nonstop crazy. Like we loved it. Absolutely loved it.
That's awesome. Did you have chances throughout the day to find scenic places to just sit and rest?
Yeah, actually. So, inside Isle of Burke, there are plenty of places that are shaded that you can sit and just kind of people watch and eat if you want to. Um, where I found it kind of hard was inside of um, not even Super Nintendo, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Um, eh, Most of the places you sat were in front of places where you order food. So there wasn't like a lot of area where you could just relax. Um, they do have now this is really interesting. They have a show there. It's called Les Cirque Arcanius. It's like a ringmaster that had like a little sideshow. It's a sideshow inside of the area that's air conditioned and you can go in there and sit and relax and like actually watch a cool little show while you're waiting to go to your next venture. Um, I'm trying to think in there. Oh, there actually was a pretty cool bar inside of Dark Universe. It's the one I don't know if you've seen. It has the windmill is on fire. Okay, that is
Absolutely, I've
a
seen it.
so that is a nice place to go, just to kind of chill out. Yes, they do allow children in there to go at least get water. They can't get any alcoholic beverages, however, but they understand that it's hot, right? Um, because this is a new park, their trees are still pretty little, so there's not a lot of natural shade in the areas. However, there's a lot of places you can sneak away and just kind of get in the air conditioning. Um, I want to say in Dark Universe they had a place called Das Steakhouse. Like they tried to be all German, Das Steakhouse, and I'm like, okay, that's not how they say it, but okay. But it's a steakhouse that was based off the monsters, and it looks pretty dark and dreary, which probably will be on my next list when we go. It's one of the places I want to go eat. But yeah, there were some places you could definitely sit. At nighttime, they do a water show. They do the fountain show. The whole way around there is nothing but seating. So even if it's hot during the day and you don't want to sit in the sun, they have the fountains going, and the mist off the fountains is always going to hit you in the face. Like you're always going to get cooled down. I think they figured out pretty quickly that with this park that they needed to find places to keep people cool, and they found ways of doing that. Like I know in like Animal Kingdom being one of the places where I think it's the hottest park ever because there's no way to really cool down unless they have, you know, um, sprinklers going off. They found a way to keep you cool during those hot summer days.
Well, I really think that they learned from Toy Story Land and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge that even if you have trees, that they don't start off as big as they will be later, and you have to take that
Yeah,
into consideration because Disney vastly underestimated how hot it would get in Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge, especially.
yeah. Oh no, 100%. Yeah, yeah, I couldn't believe how hot it was just at Animal Kingdom some of the times. Like at least there were trees and things that you could hide under, and you could like go get some food or something and kind of stay out of there. But um oh, it was called the Atlantic. The one restaurant I was talking about that comes into the Celestial Park, it's called Atlantic. It's surf and turf dining.
So, with just a few minutes left here, I want to get your overall views. I want to know if you were going to recommend to somebody that they went to Epic Universe, it was really busy, they could only do 3 rides. Which 3 rides would you tell them to experience?
Well, I'm definitely going to say you definitely have to go into Mario World and do the Bowser challenge with Mario Kart. That being one, the Stardust Racers two. And even though they had such a hard time with the Harry Potter ride, I'm going to say 100% you need to do the Battle at the Ministry. It's just the immersion of it itself. It puts you right in the movie. And one of my friends actually did ride it, and she said she was blown away, blown away. So I think it's worth it to at least get that one in. If it's the epitome of all rides, that is the one that you need to get in. If you have to have a backup, I would say the Frankenstein experience. in Dark Universe. But other than that, everything else is just little fun rides that you can get on. And just, I think to train your dragon is just to cool down. If you are there and you're hot, you need to cool down. That's the place to go because that's where it's going to happen. It's a kid themed island with lots of adult flavored foods. Let me just say there were a lot of cool handheld foods I seen people going around with. So it's a good place for everybody, I guess.
And I don't want to hold you to this. Like, this could change in a few months. But just after your first impression, where would you rank Epic Universe among the other parks in Orlando? Would you have it near the top? Would you have it in the middle? Would you say right now you think it's the best? Like, where would you place it?
That's hard. I don't think it's the best. I think it's up there at the top. Um, Only because I'm still kind of partial to, Disney. So I honestly think Epic Universe for right now is going to be like a number one for a while, just because it's new. But for me, I would say it's like a 2 or a 3, only because, yes, it has the theming, but I'm so used to going to other places and getting what I need and what I expect to happen. You know what I mean? Like with the rides and everything and the food. I think once I get the handle of where things are in this park, I probably be okay. My only worry is that there's only 11 rides in that whole place. So this is going to be one of those places where you're going to be waiting hours for rides at the very beginning. And by the way, it is miles away from Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. So it's the commune itself. That's why we stayed at Helios, because it was right there. And I didn't want to deal with parking and riding a bus to the park. That is a one big inconvenience I could think of at this point in time. They have a separate area for you to drive, for the buses to drive like Disney. They're trying to pull that, which I thought was pretty interesting. Yeah, I would say probably 2 or 3, maybe a solid 2 for right now.
Awesome. Danielle, thank you so much for being here. It's always great talking to you.
You as well. We'll talk soon.
This has been episode 226 of Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty. We'll keep things going next Thursday when my co-host Maz will be back to talk about the 35th anniversary of the movie Dick Tracy. This was an IP that was all over the Disney theme parks to start the 90s, but disappeared fairly quickly. We'll talk about this forgotten gem. Until then, have a great week.